Alright, episode 12, I believe, of Ball. Today we're just gonna do a fucking free-for-all episode because I'm sick. That's part of the delay. The other half is probably that I'm lazy. But, so I'm just gonna do, there's a bunch of topics that I have, 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of stuff I want to say about, to be honest. So instead of making them all into individual episodes, I'm just going to fucking pack them all in together and just make do with that. Alright. Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Unfortunately, it's the first topic. You fucking piece of shit. You absolute piece of shit. Not because you left. I don't really give a shit about players that leave. Not because you went for the money. I also don't care about players who go for the money. Fair enough, man. You know, you only have a 10, 20-year career at best if you're really, really lucky. And after that, you're in your mid-30s and you can't make any money anymore. So fair enough, go make as much as you can. I never begrudge players for that. But to go to that fucking club, you piece of shit. And not just to go to that club, because players have gone and players have come from there. And okay, that's fine. That's one thing. That's an issue in its own. But it's not as big of an issue as these fucking social media posts, dude. He's acting like he doesn't get it. Yeah, he just doesn't understand what he just did. He's just oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me post a tribute. Oh, thank you, Milan. Oh, let me post a tribute next to Ibrahimovic, R9 Ronaldo, Seedorf, Pirlo. And let me say, oh, look at these other guys who have gone from Inter to Milan and put myself in that fucking category, you loser. Okay. I have to say, first of all, fuck you on a personal level because of how much I personally stuck up for you. Because I still believe a lot of the Milan Twitter criticism was nonsense and a lot of the Milan Twitter criticism was extra, okay? On the field, you're a piece of shit as a person. That's separate. Whatever. If we're going to have to talk about it as an actual footballing move, I think it's a success for Inter, honestly. That's the worst part, is I think he's a huge upgrade on Eriksen, who I hope gets well. But even before then, I still thought Hakan was better than him. So I think it's an upgrade in that position. Should we have paid him the money? Look, I understand what the management does. And I know people are gonna say, well, oh, you didn't want to pay Donnarumma, so why would you say let's pay Hakan the extra $1 million? It's not even about Hakan himself. It's just I don't know how the finances are gonna work this summer. But from what it seems, is that we're not gonna be able to buy 3 starters, all right, and we're not gonna be able to buy 3 high-level starters at the very least. And to me, if it only cost $1 million. Or however much it is, 1 million, 2 million, whatever. If that was the only difference, if it was $1 million in salary and $1 million bonus, to me, I would have rather paid that. If that would have allowed us to get a right winger and a high quality right winger and a high quality striker. Now, if the management sat down, did the math, and said, even if we re-sign this guy, it's not gonna matter. It's not going to really affect the business that we do. And they decided this is our final number, then fair enough. I guess they do that. But personally, I think I would have rather just paid him. Now that he's gone, I honestly am not sure what we're going to do. I've already said, if we're going to go for a high-quality replacement, I would go in the league. I always suggest people in the league. I would go Marinovsky from Atalanta, or Pellegrini from Roma, or Luis Alberto for Lazio, who would be, I think, the most like-for-like replacement. And you could argue yes or no if he's better than Hakan to begin with. And I think if you get Luis Alberto, you could literally just slot him into position and nothing changes. Everything goes smoothly. They're very similar players. They both have played they both play the position similarly. They both have the similar physical attributes. So that stuff that could go very smoothly if we can get somebody like that. If not, I wouldn't be completely I don't think it's a disaster if we end up with Brahim Diaz and Zakani, for example, or Zakagni, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't think that's a terrible disaster because I do rate Zakani. as long as that's not a disaster, as long as we get a competent right winger, like a really good right winger and a really good striker. To me, if you do that and then you say, okay, well, we have these two attacking mids, they'll split the time between each other, and we think Brahim Diaz is a high potential, so we'll be fine with that. Okay, you can sell me that, but you got to get me a good right winger and a good striker if you're gonna say that. Alright, second topic is the Euro predictions. I'm doing this right after the France and Portugal game and the Germany-Hungary games. So now we know all the round of 16 teams, round of 16 matchups, sorry. And everybody okay, look, I'm not gonna lie, this has been one of the best tournaments I've ever watched. I think in terms of just footballing quality, I would say it's definitely the best tournament I've watched in terms of footballing quality. Just the third place thing kind of dampens it, but even then, it's been an incredible tournament. And now we have all the teams that have gone through. I'm just going to look at, honestly, these things, and I'm going to go one by one. I'm going to see what I think. Okay, Wales, Denmark, first one. I have Denmark in that one easily, to be honest. Although I predicted Wales to go out the group. I mean, to come out the Group A or whatever it was. And I thought they did really well, but I just think Denmark have a lot more talent. And after the Finland game, which was we all know the circumstances for that one, they showed a hell of a lot of fight, and they honestly played way, way better than Belgium. And I thought the difference between Denmark and Belgium was just simply one of them had De Bruyne and Lukaku and the other one didn't. So to me, they're not going to be at an individual quality deficit in this game, and to me, they win that game. Next, we got Italy and Austria. That one's going to be Italy, obviously. I said on the stream with Lias Messi, I don't know, I should probably put somewhere on the right, like a link or something. But yeah, I said on that I thought Italy had a pool of players that could win this tournament. I just didn't think they had used them. I just don't think they had used them properly. I still think there's still some reservations I have about how they've used them. Some of those reservations have solved themselves. Chiellini getting injured. He was one of my biggest question marks. He got injured. So now I assume it's going to be Acerbi and Bastoni who are taking over his spot, which I think should have been the case in the first place. Then you got Di Lorenzo's finally playing. Verratti's finally healthy. Now they have a shot. To me, I would probably not change. I would probably not bring in Verratti into the starting lineup just because Locatelli's done brilliant. I would just you don't fucking tinker with something that's worked. But now they have a path, I think, to really get going. Cause I know if they win this, they play the winner of Belgium, Portugal, which is still going to be tough. But I feel like based off what we've seen so far, they're better than both those teams. Then we got Netherlands and the Czech Republic. I was really low on the Netherlands, to be honest, and they've somewhat All right, then we got Holland and the Czech Republic. I really underestimated Holland, I guess. I mean, I'm still not that high on them because I just think they have a huge talent deficit. But I guess, they did really well in their group. So I guess I have to, it's not that hard to pick them against the Czech Republic because I don't rate them either. But I don't think either of the, God, it's that side of the bracket. It's just so easy. I think if Netherlands beat the Czech Republic, they basically have a clean path to the semifinals at least. So there's that. But yeah, I'm going to pick them over Czech. Then we got Belgium and Portugal. That one, it's tough. Because I feel like Belgium are worse on paper. They have a lot less talent, I feel. But I think they might have the two best players in the game, but at the same time, still be less talented. So, and then you have Portugal, who are really, really talented, but then have this fucking coach who refuses to like play the best players and kept Renato Sanchez out of this goddamn lineup for the first two games for no fucking reason. Even though every single time he came on, he clearly changed the game and changed the flow of it. And today when he started against France, he was clearly up for the task. It was clearly much better than William Carvalho or Danilo for that matter. So I'm gonna say it's a close one, I think, but I'm actually, you know what? Should I say? No, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go with Portugal. I'm just gonna. I was gonna gamble on the individual quality of Belgium, but I'm just gonna fucking say it. I'm gonna go Belgium. I'm gonna go Portland. Sorry, Portugal. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. Then we got Croatia and Spain. Probably the most fucking. I can't imagine this game is gonna be fun. It's probably the most boring out of all these. These are two teams who didn't show a lot, honestly, in the round of 16, in the group. Sorry, Spain won 5-0. And I'm still like, okay, man, I don't really care. They beat Slovakia 5-0, and they made, and Luis Enrique has made every single wrong decision with his squad selection, and with his just roster selection in general before the tournament. But I guess I'm gonna have to pick them because Croatia haven't looked good either. But then they have Modric, who's going to be the best player on the field. Nah, I'm still going to pick Spain. I have to pick Spain. Even though they have the worst fucking striker to ever exist, Alvaro Morata, you piece of shit. I'm actually, thank you. Thank you so much for not coming back to Atleti. Thank you so much, Juventus, for paying an extra 10 million to extend his loan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for keeping that piece of shit away from us. All right, then we got France and Switzerland. France weren't that impressive, to be honest. They weren't crazy, but their individual the 5 times a game, one of those guys will do something crazy. But okay, that's why they're the favorites. Pogba today, time and time again with these behind these through balls. I'm like, okay, man. Nobody can touch this guy. And then Mbappe with his pace, he can beat guys off the dribble, and then, all these kinds of things. I'm just like, okay, at a certain point, individual quality is going to win out. And I just think, yeah, they're going to blitz Switzerland. Then we have probably the biggest name game of the tournament, England and Germany. With this one, I'm honestly not 100% sure because both have underwhelmed. Although Germany did have one performance that was against Portugal that was better than every single England performance combined, and I still think Southgate continuously over and over and over and over makes every single wrong decision possible. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Germany. I don't really care. I mean, I think England are more talented on an individual level, but they just have that fucking dude who will. And I asked people, do you think they if they go on the round of 16, do you think they would sack him? And most people said no. Most English people especially said no, that he's going to stay until 2022, which is, okay, so I guess they're not going to be serious until 2022 until after 2022, because this is ridiculous. He is not he's not a competent manager. Time and time again, he makes the wrong selection decision over and over. So I'm just like, okay, man, whatever. Ukraine and Sweden finally. Both, I picked Ukraine to make it to the semis when I did this, I think. When I did my bracket. I'm going to go with that. Fuck it. Let's go Ukraine. Yaramchuk and Yarmolenko and all these guys, we're going to make it. I'm sure. I'm confident somehow. Even though Sweden, you know what? I can't stick to my pick. I'm going to say Sweden. They showed more. I'm going to say Sweden just because Sweden did, Isaac, this is his coming out party. He's been crazy. His combination of just how tall and athletic he is, but at the same time how nimble, the word I feel fluid. He's fluid. He gets the ball, and with these tall guys, sometimes you feel like they're clunky. It takes a second for the signal to reach their legs. He's just fluid. Like his whole body's moving really nicely. It's like his combination play is nice. I hope he goes back to Dortmund, to be honest, if they sell Haaland. Just because I don't want him to take a big move to somewhere like that's gonna have like ridiculous expectations. I wish he would just take a move where it's gonna be high quality teammates like at Dortmund, but not a lot of pressure because they're not expected to win anything. So stuff like I feel like a team like that, ironically, because they already own him, or they have a buyback clause, I guess. I think a team like that would be perfect for him. Fuck it, I'm gonna pick Sweden to be impartial at least. All right, next topic we got NBA playoffs. I'm gonna review my predictions for the that I did for the conference semifinals, and then I'm gonna do my conference finals ones now. So let's see what I got. I had Bucks in 7. Not exactly how I expected it to be with all the injuries or whatever, but I still had Bucks in 7, so fair enough. I won. Giannis, he is that fucking dude. Okay, he is that guy. Don't you ever forget it, okay? 40-13 and 5 in Game 7. And the winning, not the winning, the tying shot before the winning shot, when he took that ball and he backed and he bumped and he bumped and he bumped, and then an easy jump hook. That's all day against Kevin Durant. He is that dude. And I expect him to continue doing that against the Hawks. Okay. Then I had the Sixers in 5 against the Hawks. That one was wildly wrong. So let me talk about that one. Trae Young, man, I was so wrong. Honestly, he falls like I have to start thinking about him differently. I thought, okay, well, Ben Simmons is a great perimeter defender. It's gonna be a lot harder for Trae than it was against the Knicks, which I mean was true, but like he doesn't let you guard him. His navigation of screens is one of the best in the league. I think him and Luka, I know, which is funny because they're always going to be like joined at the hip in these conversations. But the one thing that I do think they play very different styles. But the one thing that I do think they both do is their navigation of screens. Like they won't let the primary guy actually guard them as much. You know what I'm saying? Like they will run you. Like Simmons was in front of Trae Young. But then he would just run him through 50 picks, and then the lob threat the Capella's lob threat would be there. So like he would just continuously, and his floater game. Oh my God, is it beautiful, man? He comes off that thing, and it's just automatic, like floater. Just it's crazy what he can do off the screen. That's the thing with him. I just think that makes him so unstoppable. Because like, what are you gonna actually do? You like 1-on-1, you might be able to contend with him. Because of his size and whatever, but the way he navigates screens, he's always gonna find a moment of daylight. He's gonna get a mid-range jumper if he wants to. He could step back for the 3. He could do he could shoot the floater. Like he has so many parts of his arsenal that he could go to. That I just don't think anybody's gonna actually slow him down. That being said, the Bucks did make a small adjustment in that by the end of the Nets series. The Bucks did finally, like Brook Lopez did finally start pushing up because even he was like, okay, this is fucking ridiculous. Am I gonna really let Kevin Durant come off every single screen with just daylight? Like at the very least, make him make his mind up. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't make his mind up for him. Make him make a decision. Because when he comes off that screen, and this is gonna be the same case for Trae Young. Like when Trae Young comes off that screen, if you're not on the other side, he's gonna walk into a floater. He's gonna walk in a mid range, or he's just gonna shoot the 3. He's gonna do that every single time. Like and he's gonna know what he wants to do before he even goes around the screen. So like, but if you meet him on the other side, yes, I know he can dance on you, and he'll probably if Lopez meets him on the other side, he'll probably still like fucking like he'll probably still be efficient. He'll probably still be a great scorer even against Lopez meeting him on the other side. But at least make him make a decision. I would much rather him having to pass or him having to make a read to pass, even though he's fantastic at that. But I would much rather that than him coming off the screen knowing exactly what he's about to do. Because if you do that and he knows exactly what he's about to do and he gets 2 or 3 steps to get into that motion, I just don't know how you can stop him like that. On the other end, Giannis is just gonna, he's just gonna fucking bludgeon them. Like they're I don't think they have anybody who can contend with him. Nobody who's his size is fast enough, and nobody who's his speed is big enough to guard him on that team. Okongu is the only one, but I don't think he's gonna get enough minutes. Like, is he gonna start? Because if he's not, then it's John Collins, I guess. John Collins is gonna guard him, and it's like, okay, man, like that's little. That's way too little, and I just don't know how they're gonna stop him. So for me, and I don't know why. I don't have an exact explanation for this because it's not like the Nets were a great perimeter defense, even though they did defend pretty well. But I just think Middleton and Drew are gonna play better this series. I'm not exactly sure why, but I feel like it's gonna be like a weight off their shoulders because they finally got over the hump. Like, they won a series where they were both really, really fucking bad, but at the end of those games. At the end of Game 7, like, both had their moments, and I just feel like it's gonna be a relief to them. They're gonna play with a little bit. They're gonna play a little bit better. And then over on the West side, we got I predicted Suns in 6 against Denver. I guess I undersold the Suns. They ended up sweeping. Honestly, I only had it in 6 just because I thought, like, I gave Jokic a little, like, credit. Because, he's the MVP and all that stuff. I thought he would be able to maybe get a game or two, but ultimately, like, the divide between the Nuggets playing their backup guards and the Suns being the Suns is like strength being their guards. It was never gonna really, and I mean, it was never gonna really be a contest. And then the other end, like at the other side of the court, Ayton just shut the he didn't shut down Jokic because, he's Jokic. But he guarded the hell out of him. And even Jokic admitted it, and I love that he showed that kind of like he was a good sport about it. He didn't like try to like downplay what Ayton was doing. Ayton was playing really fucking good defense. In the low post, you're not going to move that dude. He's one of the best freak athletes. He's one of the most freak athletes in the entire league. Like, you're not going to move that dude in the post. You're not going to back him down. It's not the way when, like last year when he had Zubats and Harrell. He was just moving them any which way he wanted. So that's not going to happen with Ayton. And he really held up his own on the defensive end. So fair enough to them. They exceeded my expectations. The Clippers Jazz series, I had Jazz. I don't think I had I didn't put a game by it because that was still before the Mavs and Clippers series that had concluded. But I had the Jazz as favorites. I guess that turned out to be wrong, obviously. The Jazz just like hugely fucking struggled. Look, they couldn't stop anybody on the perimeter, and their entire everybody is getting on Gobert. Rightfully so. Everybody should get on Gobert, right? But at the same time, I just think their philosophy was flawed to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody during the series was going like, oh, well, their guys are just getting beat really easily off the perimeter. But it's like that was their thing the entire season. Their thing was like, it's fine because we're going to funnel everything to Rudy. And Rudy's just going to like nullify them at the rim, which, he still kind of did because he was crazy. His numbers at the rim were crazy. But once he had to go and actually guard those guys, first of all, he's giving up threes. If they're beating the Jazz players on the perimeter, they're driving. Then Rudy has to come off the perimeter to protect the paint, which leaves an easy kick out. And those guys just made their shots. The issue becomes when Rudy had to go out and guard them on the perimeter, he committed way too much. And they were walking to layups and dunks, and once that started happening, and everybody, all the Clippers players, like, it was evident, they were all looking at each other like, holy shit, like, we could do this? Like, we could go attack this guy every single possession? And this is the defensive player of the year, the 3-time defensive player of the year. And, once that happens, you're not going to win the series. Once your defensive player of the year, once everybody on the opposition realizes we can go at your defensive player of the year, you're not going to win a game. That's not going to happen. It was so a catastrophe from the Jazz's side to not be able to win a game with Kawhi without Kawhi for the last 2 games. You can't win a single game? I get it, Mike Conley wasn't there, but you already won 2 games with Kawhi. So like that was really bad. So now for the Suns Clippers, I already know the Suns and Clippers are up 2-0. So I have them in 5, which you could say is a pretty it's an unfair prediction because I already know it's 2-0. But you know, I'm doing this video today, so fuck it, I don't care. Bucks Hawks. That game's tonight. I have the Bucks in 6. I think Trey is gonna just like go fucking mental for 2 games and get them 2 games. But ultimately, I just think the Bucks attack on the rim and the paint is just gonna be too crazy, and I just don't see how the Hawks honestly nullify it. Finally, for the first time, I'm actually gonna do an outro because I don't know. I feel like I have to apologize for all the sniffling and whatever it is that I end up leaving in the cut. I hope I don't have to leave that much. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and all that shit.